Hola chicos, hola estudiantes. Estoy in Blackboard. I'm in Blackboard and I just wanted to give you a couple updates for this week. Remember, by today, Thursday, you were supposed to do your Exploraciones Léxicas Uno, the first vocab section in MindTab, and also sign up for the Ed puzzles so that you can get this today. I'm assuming you already have that. And then for Thursday, also, you have this discussion board where you will add some information about yourself so that I can get to know you and other students in the class can get to know you. Then next class, what you have to do, and this is for Monday. Remember, our assignments are due on Thursdays by 4. And then the work for Thursday, which I assigned today, is due by Monday by midnight. And so you're going to be working on Exploraciones Gramaticales Uno, and that's what I'll cover in class today, teaching you. And then you're also doing the Ready and Learn It's for Gramaticales Dos, which just introduces you to those topics, just so you can be ready when I teach them on class on Tuesday. And then you're also writing a conversation. So what you want to do is you want to use your vocabulary that you learned in Gramaticales Uno to use the vocabulary on top. And you're just trying to write a conversation between two people. Just do your best to fill in what you think they might say to each other. And we will review this on Tuesday in class, but please get it in by Monday so that you will not lose any credit. I just wanted to give you a couple announcements. The first announcement, el primer anuncio, es que for these Ed puzzles, I would like you to finish them by Friday at midnight. And that's just the recorded class. So that gives you a full day and a half because I usually post them by midnight on the day on Thursdays so that you have them available. It's just the first moment of Thursday. And then I'd like them done by midnight on Friday, just so I can check them and get your participation in for the week. Remember, there's two parts to your participation and attendance. It's the class attending on Tuesdays, the Zoom class, and then number 2 is that you complete this Ed puzzle. So once you have those two things in, but if you only came to class and you didn't do the Ed puzzle, then it would be a 50 for the week. And all of those will go into your participation grade. The next announcement, el próximo anuncio es sobre los USITs. What you're going to see in your MindTap is when you do your MindTap activities, there's a lot of practices, but there's also the USITs. And a student asked me at the end of class yesterday, are the assignments graded for accuracy or just effort? Most of the time when you're in MindTap, you have to complete them correctly for it even to be able to register. So you have to do it until it's correct. However, for the USITs, you're going to be recording yourself speaking. So you're going to be on camera, only I can see you, and then I will be grading those. So if you just fluff through it or you're not really putting a lot of effort in, then that would lose credit. So do your best to prepare for those USITs and just jot down some notes if you can, but you are recording yourself. Please do not skip those because I do grade those manually and put them into your grade. Okay, so those were the announcements. That is the work for this week, and now I will go into the lesson. Remember, I told you that the a, e, I, o, u is super important in Spanish, so let's just remember that. A, e, I, o, u. A, I, o, u. So just say that a couple times. Make sure you memorize that. Practice it as much as possible. So, a, I, o, u, el burro sabe más que tú. And remember, we have that ha, 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 he, 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 oh, ho, 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 ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. So just practice those. It's kind of like when you're a singer and you have warm-ups. This is what we're doing now. So remember, we have these cognados in Español, which can be a little dangerous because you're going to see them and want to say them like English. But that's why we start with these, because they are your chance to say that correctly. So let's start with, and pronounce after me. Pronuncia conmigo. Local. Local. And then we have literal. 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 So we have the I-E-A. Literal. Liberal. legal, hospital, ideal, grave, grave. So all vowels get pronounced in Spanish. There aren't silent vowels. There is a silent H, but vowels we should always be saying are a, e, I, o, u every time we pronounce the word. So look out for those vowels and try to pronounce them correctly. So we have a couple sentences here. We have cáncer es fatal. El festival es admirable. El exterior es ideal. La agenda es legal. El actor es liberal. El horror es global. El hospital es familiar. So keep trying your best with pronunciation. We'll be doing more. You have some in Mind Tap this week, but I just wanted to do a little with you before we went into the Gramaticales Uno. So remember the other day when I talked to you, el martes en clase, I explained that words either are feminine or masculine in gender. So if we see the word la, like la pizarra, usually a word that ends in an A is going to be feminine, and a word that ends in an O will be masculine. So, and then there are other little rules that I'll teach you along the way. But so when I say the word right now, just tell me if it's femenino o masculino. El cuaderno. La estudiante. El estudiante. La puerta. El reloj. El televisor. La mesa. El mapa. So if you want to just take a few notes along the way here, just to review what I'm telling you, I will put a copy of these notes, and also there's a practice at the end we'll do next week. But for now, let's just listen to me and then just jot down some notes. I'll ask you some questions along the way. So remember that in Spanish, all nouns have a gender. So they're either going to be masculine or feminine. And it has little to do with being girly or manly, as we would say, or between. It's just the way that the nouns work in Spanish. But you must know if it's masculine or feminine in order to put the correct the. So there's 4 different ways to say the in Spanish. So we need to know, is it masculino or femenino, and if it's singular or plural. So typically words that end in O or OS are going to be masculino. Por ejemplo, we have muchacho, invierno, and colegio. And then words that end in A or AS, that would be the plural form. So O is the masculine singular, OS is the masculine plural, A femenino singular, and AS femenino plural. So we have words like muchacha, primavera, escuela. Those are all our feminine words. And then how do we know if a word is plural or singular? Usually you will see that S at the end. So you see muchachos instead of muchacho. And typically what we do is we add an S to the word if it ends in a vowel. So if we had muchacho, we would add it muchachos. And then if we had the word señor, then we're going to add an ES. So over here I have a little note. To make a word plural in Spanish, you're going to add an S if it ends in a vowel, like poema becomes poemas, sistema becomes sistemas, invierno, winter becomes inviernos, or an ES if it ends in a consonant, like doctor, that's one doctor, If you wanted to say doctors, it would be doctores. So it's very simple. You just add an S to vowels, the A, E, I, O, U, or an S, ES to your consonantes. So words also that end in ema or emas, like sistema or poemas, they are usually masculine. So even though they end in an A, that's one of our exceptions. So there are some exceptions to the rule. Not all words, like mapa is an example. Words that end in pa or ma, like drama and programas, those are going to be masculine. So that's why it's el mapa, not la mapa, because that is an exception to the rule. Also, or and ores, like profesor or señor or doctor, those are all usually masculine words. Then we have some feminine here. Words that end in the following letters are typically feminine. So we said A or AS, like primavera or muchachas. Then words that end in tad or tades. Amistad, that's a femenino. Libertad, so those are feminine. And then sion is the equivalent of tion, like information. We have información, we have conversación, estación. Any word that ends in sion or siones is usually feminine. Same with sion and siones with the S. And up here we had said that doctor and señor, that or and ores, those are masculine. But we can also have the feminine word like señor becomes señora, so that ora or horas is feminine. And sometimes there are words that break rules, which we just sometimes have to memorize. There are overall just general rules, but we have masculine exceptions like dia is el dia, mapa, like we just talked about, is el mapa. Sofa is el sofa. So, but generally we can use the rule that A is feminine and O is masculine. There's this little trick that I always teach my students, and it's snorkels. So if you can write down snorkels right now, what snorkels means is that if a word ends in any of these letters, S, N, O, R, K, L, E, Z, that word is usually going to be masculino. So you can look, because it's not an O, it's not an A, it's not ora. Like lapis, for example, that is an example. It ends in a Z, it's actually masculino. There is a note with words that end in a Z. So when you have lapices, so remember, what two letters are we going to add to lapis to make it plural? It ends in a consonant. It's going to be lapices, ES. But the thing with words that end in Z is we have to first change the letter to a C, and then we're going to add ES. So it's lapices. Remember, you're going to raise your shoulders, lapices. And another one would be pez, which is fish. So let's make the word pez plural. So we first have to change the Z to a C, and then we're going to add what two letters? ES, because it ends in a consonant. So peces are fish. We know that pez is masculine because of snorkels. So in general, that will help you to determine if words don't end in the patterns that I've taught you, to determine if they're masculine or feminine. So just a quick note that humans do naturally have a gender, and sometimes those can be fluid. But in general, if we say man or woman or sister or brother in Spanish, typically a man will be masculino, if a woman will be femenino. So if you have the word padre, which is father, that's going to be masculino. But you have the word madre, mother, that's femenino. Hermana, sister, that's going to be femenino. So those are some examples there. And we will talk more about this in class. I just wanted to give you a little overview. Let's see. And we'll do the rest of this when I see you. I will put this as a practice for next week. But I wanted to just get you started this week and not give you too much work so that you can get acclimated to the class. And I'm going to say adios and hasta martes en clase. It was so fun working with you on Tuesday, and I look forward to our segunda clase, the second class. Muchas gracias, estudiantes. Please email me if you have any questions. Adios.